Welcome back. You're now tuned into the other side of sports. It's your host, Laws, in the building. It's me and Aaron. Our special guest analyst, D, he will be joining us shortly on the program. Uh, we are here to talk about the quarterback draft class, right? This is where you see I got the suit. I'm on my Stephen Avery Smithsonian. I'm on that today. Cause we this is where we get down. This is the brass tacks. We get down to business. We talk. We keep it all the way 100. You know, you'll leave here knowing who's the studs and who's the bust. We're gonna just do this from how I see it. Aaron, you could jump in. You could be my guy to be like, no, wait a minute. You need to change that. That's wrong. We need to put this guy here. I think that this guy here. I'm gonna give a little rationale for some of these decisions that I made. Started with number 5. So this is my number 5th rated quarterback this year. This person I don't believe is the top quarterback in this draft class. Some may believe differently. I watched the tape finally, Aaron. I watched it. I just be honest and put this disclaimer out there. When I was watching the tape, I was watching to basically go against what y'all have tried to put in my mind about this quarterback, and I try to look from the opposite spectrum and give him the benefit of the doubt, because you know I like to give everybody a fair shake. Try to look at the glass half full instead of half empty. But with all that said, Will Levis came up number 5. I know it's people like, dog, what are you talking about? The Ponders got him going 1, 2, or 3. Like you, I watched the game tape. I saw a lot of happy feet. You know, people will sit here, you know, and when we talk about like, if this is kind of goes into it. If a black quarterback has the similar like output and production that he has, he wouldn't be getting drafted. He'd be like off the draft board if they just played the same way. So when I look at the tape, I see, you know, in the games that I watch, I see happy feet. I see him underwhelmed against teams where he should just dominate.
Fact.
I saw, you know, he can throw the ball, but I think when there's this narrative around you not having throwing power and you're trying to basically show everybody you have throwing power, right? To me, that's just an overcompensation for it, and it's a lack of confidence in your abilities. You know, those things are kind of alarming to me, because when you have people trying to basically like show people what they can do, opposed to just doing what you can do, it goes into like the Johnny Manziel-ish, what's the other? Yeah, it goes in that spectrum where it's a fake confidence where you trying to like it. To me, it translates to your football play and your confidence level at the next level, right? You know, I think he's a terrible quarterback? No, I don't think he's terrible, but I think he needs to sit behind somebody. I think he needs to learn the game a little bit more. You know, there was plays where, you know, you could tell that he knows that Kentucky offense, but like his ability to kind of read the defense to a level that you want out of a starting QB coming prospect, it wasn't there for me. Like,
this is the question.
Go ahead.
Is he a first round pick? If you draft him, even at 30, that's still first round.
Okay.
32, that's still first round. Is he a first round pick?
So I'm gonna say no, he's not. And the reason I'm gonna say no is not because he couldn't be drafted in the first round. I just think when you're talking about drafting a quarterback, there's a skewed number of teams that like fit or be like a good fit for you to be able to play like sooner than later. And I don't think that any of those teams in the first round had that luxury to like wait for him to develop into what he needs to like see and do before he could be that guy, right? And there's a handful of teams in the league that you could take a guy day one and kind of, you know, create a situation or a space where he could have some success. I just don't think that is the landscape of the league as a whole, right? And he's not good enough to basically plug and play right away. So I would say under those circumstances, no.
Right. And I would agree. I think he probably will get drafted in the first round. I think his comp as far as path is going to be similar to Kenny Pickett, where it's a guy that you don't like. If you drafting a guy you need to drive your team or to change your organization, a franchise guy, just clear cut. That's not what he is. It's not what he's going to be. His ceiling isn't that high. Um, I kept hearing these conversations about how strong his arm is. Oh, he got a strong arm. To me, it sounds like more fake news generated to try to justify surging him up the draft boards. It's
Mhm.
just decent arm, decent. He
Mhm.
put the ball where it had to go. He doesn't do anything to jump off the tape or say, "Hey, this is the first round pick," or "This is a guy we need
Mhm.
to be the quarterback." If you ended up stuck with him, just like a Kenny Pickett, you know what I mean, picking him up
Mhm.
late in the first round, he sat behind somebody. I'm sure he wouldn't come into the game and look like the worst quarterback you've
No.
ever seen.
Mhm.
Like what's the guy, Nate Peterman? You're not going to
Yeah,
necessarily see
yeah.
that,
No.
but he's not gonna jump out as somebody who shouldn't be in the league potentially. But he's
Mhm.
not a first round pick, and him being in this conversation is unjustified. And it's
Mhm.
another one, like we talk about this every year. Whenever, particularly when the top of the draft board at quarterback is black, they find white guys to surge up the draft board, like a Mitchell Trubisky, like
Mhm.
these kind of things. They just find guys to surge up to kind of put in the mix. And we see this every year. There's always
Yeah.
some white guy that they surge up the draft board that the numbers, the production, the ability to seal, and just doesn't match with the
Yeah.
conversation.
Yeah. Agreed. Agreed.
I he's gonna. Don't be surprised if he goes either the first or second. I feel like he's one of those quarterbacks for whatever reason, and I don't have a technical term. All I can tell you is he has everything that a franchise wants. He has the height, he has the size. He's not athletic,
Complexion.
And the color. And the
and
color.
that too, and he got the arm. So I think, and he plays in a pro style offense, and I think all those things will make him go a lot higher than what he needs to go. I'll say it like that.
Okay.
He doesn't measure up with the talent with the other guys,
Okay.
but because of he checks these other boxes that they are more common to seeing as a successful quarterback, then they would choose him above these other
In the
guys, even
past.
though correct, even though they're more talented than this guy.
Okay. So I have him rated fifth in the top five. Do you have a problem with that, or do you think he should be higher in that space?
Mm. No, I guess I can go if he can go 4 or 5, really and truly.
Okay. Yeah, I'll say in the spacing, the only reason I put Hendon Hooker ahead of him, who we on now, number 4,
Right.
is because of just the production.
He's better. That's why you put him ahead. You shoot me. He's better. We talk about 27-2 from a guy that tore his ACL and didn't play the whole season. If you go back to old boys numbers who played the whole year, he got 19 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. Like he's better. He's better, dog.
Okay.
You don't gotta
He's better.
justify that 5.
You right. You right. He's better. Clearly. I like Hendon. I thought, he showed that he could play the QB position. Teams he probably hurt his stock just with the ACL injury.
And his age. I think if he's 21
Yeah.
with these same numbers, he's probably the number 1 overall
Mm,
prospect coming out. He's the number 1 pick if he's 21 doing this. But the guy's like 24, 25,
mhm.
Right.
and he's coming off that ACL.
Yeah.
At
So,
the end of the season, on top of that. But yeah.
Yeah. And so he was on pace to probably be in the Heisman conversation. Like he was out here cooking. Like they beat Alabama. He's out here cooking stuff. So
Yeah.
um,
And that game, he showed a lot, dog. He showed grit.
boy can play.
He
He can
showed-
throw the rock.
He showed it all. Like, I mean, literally was poised in the jumps and just unflappable, making plays. Like,
My main concern by Hendon, when the type of pocket he had, his offensive line, in my opinion, was just so superb. Even against Alabama, he would just sit back, hot pocket time, just pat, throw the pass. You know what I mean? And I don't know if that's gonna, and the teams that will maybe choose him are gonna be, obviously in the top 10 or whatever.
Mhm.
And those teams are not gonna. There's a reason why they're in that top seed, and that offensive line is not gonna allow him that same amount of time that he's used to having. And so, what does that mean for him when he goes to to that level? Because you already know the level of patience that he would get if he's not performing. You already know how that goes.
Cut it in half, dog. EJ Manuel, remember him?
So my question again that I'm gonna have with every quarterback, same as I asked Harold on the last Bama, is you taking him in the first round? Is he a first round pick?
I would say no, mainly because of the injury. That's my main thing. He can go in the first round to a team, maybe in the middle to the late of the first round, that already has a lot of talent, where you pick this guy, he's probably not going to play the first year, but you got him in that roster ready and loaded in the chamber. So
At
that
26 or 27 when
Right.
he's on the field.
Right. So when that next season comes, you got him ready to go. He locked and loaded. You know what I'm trying to say? The
How long
talent.
Aaron Rodgers sat for a long time for he actually
3
got
years.
to play.
Yeah.
But he still was younger than this Bama when he go get on the field.
Stop.
He definitely was.
No, I'm not opposed to picking the old head, the Bama, dog. With age comes wisdom, dog, and less mistakes.
But you got to add a year because he's out with an ACL tear late in the season,
Okay,
so he's
agreed.
not playing this
And
year.
so that to me would be the knock to him being picked in the first round. Like I see him as a second round pick. I think he's better than Will Levis, as you alluded to. And so if I'm in a situation where I already have a starting quarterback, but we trying to like figure out what the future is going to be down the road, then Hendon Hooker will probably be my selection, because in the top guys is going to be off the board. But yeah, so that's who I got there. Number 3. Now we getting down to the get down. Anthony Richardson. I should have prefaced it before I jumped into who was number 3, but this Bama is a creative playoff Madden, dog. You go in the jump and you put the measurables in. And you say I'm gonna get a quarterback. I want 99 speed, 99 arm strength, 99. Like, you know what I'm saying? And then you just figure out all the rest, dog. Like, the Bama has all the attributes you want in a quarterback at this level. He has speed. He got the arm strength. He can zip. He got zip on the football. I think his numbers don't really tell the whole story around just, the team. I mean, the team wasn't as good as some of the other guys that, are in this draft class. But the Bama's talent is off the paper, dog. It's off the paper. I watched the combine and I was like, that jump. I told both of y'all that when I saw the highlights, it had me geeked. I was like, dog, this Bama's a cooker.
He
geeked off the
Bama
highlights.
made himself a lot of money at the combine.
Yes, he did.
I would not be shocked. Now, I don't think I actually think something different is gonna happen, because I'm sure my number 1 is not y'all's number 1. I think he is in the conversation for, maybe with his ceiling being so high with what he did at the combine, of being in the conversation for the number 1 pick. I'm not saying it's likely or that's why they traded up, but the way the Bama ceiling is through the roof. If you into that project, like I think his comp has got to be Josh Allen.
Yeah.
A guy who you didn't see do it in college at the level you would want for somebody that high. But when you look at the physical, like this Bama arm is now the curse with that is everything he throws is rocket ball. He don't change speeds, no change ups.
No touch on the jump.
Everything's rocket ball.
Right. It's effortless. It's kind of like Lamar-ish a little bit.
Yeah,
like
effortless.
Lamar just zing the jump and it's 60 yards like on a rope. And you be like, dang, dog. But they may not drop in the bucket like some of the other quarterbacks can do. But like he can get it there. And the Bama he definitely has all the tools. And plus, if you drafting a guy and your team is O-line is in shuffles and you just not sure how you gonna make it. Dog, this is a guy who can get out of trouble. That's a fact. Like he can get out of trouble. And matter of fact, similar to we talked about the Bears earlier, and then their trade, Justin Fields. Like just being able to escape and get loose and stuff, that can win you football games. That can keep you relevant. That sells tickets. That just does a lot for a franchise that this guy possesses. It was hard for me because, you know, when you think about like a quarterback going to the next level and you're trying to decide like who you're going to put him in order, right? I don't think that he's a better quarterback than the two guys in front of him.
Right. Or maybe a guy behind him.
I just think that his upside is just so ridiculous that like it can make up for what he lacks in those other departments. And like when you're trying to win a football game at the next level, dog, you need every advantage you can get.
Fact.
If a Bama got you can hit the B button, this Bama spin out of everything and just like that's another element that gives you an advantage that your team has to work, the other team has to worry about. And sometimes that's better than just the tangible quarterback attributes that most quarterbacks have, like being able to read defense, being able to like, you know, throw the ball here in these windows and stuff. This Bama has a lot of those categories high, but there's still development piece that's there as far as like being able to, I think, really lead a team at the next level of what's required to be able to do that. But like talent wise, oh my goodness, though, he's the most talented quarterback we probably seen since Josh Allen. He more talented than Josh Allen in my opinion. Like I don't even know since Mike Vick was a quarterback was like LeBron
like
Marcus Russell for me.
Yeah,
because I think Cam Newton was big, but the Bama he couldn't move like this.
No,
this Bama wasn't jumping 40-inch vertical, 40-yard dash. Like this is a whole new animal.
Yeah, it's a whole new animal.
I feel like if he goes to a top team, I think you need to have someone that's creative offensively that gets this guy. Like you got to have the right team, because I feel like that first year, I don't think you can't make him a traditional quarterback, and that's my fear, that you're gonna try to,
Lamar Jackson him. You already know.
They're gonna try to paint him as, okay, he needs to be this guy. He needs to be a quarterback, and I think you got to use him. Especially in that first year, I'm gonna tell you his most success that first year. Let him use his legs and let him do the RPO and zone read game. I think he does zone read and RPO. I think that's where he's gonna be the best in his first couple years, because he still has a lot to learn. Even when he's like, when I watch his footwork and stuff like that, I mean, he gets the job done because of his raw talent. But I feel like those things have to be worked on. But that wouldn't stop him to still be successful when he plays in his first year, if you use him correctly. And I think he needs to go to the right team so that he can get used correctly, because otherwise you already know how that's going to work. He's not going to get used correctly. They're going to force him into a situation where he needs to read defenses in a certain way, as opposed to you do an RPO game,
round
you do
a zone read game. Hole. You saw I mixed them Jones up, square peg, round hole. That's just how I go.
But the one thing I will say is it seems like the idiots are finally catching up with reality, and the league is changing. Mm-hmm. And I think just looking at the quarterback class is obvious. In previous years, if you look at, the guys who are considered top 3, top 4, at least on our list, they would have made so many edits and surged so many random white boys out of the blue yonder up the draft board to just create a draft class, or they would have said this is not a good quarterback class and try to have a bunch of other positions go above these guys. Whereas now guys just want to win. They like mobility. That's a requirement. It's no longer a detriment to drafting a quarterback. Yeah. And then when you got these old coordinators like a Nathaniel Hackett or some of these other guys who can't hack it, literally, with these black quarterbacks or guys that have other tools, they getting fired, they getting canned, other guys calling the plays. Like, nah, you're the outlier if you want to be with this dinosaur offense.
Too much talent here.
We've seen it work with other teams. Figure it out.
That's
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'm let you finish.
Yeah, I was just going to say, we've been complaining about this since, I want to say like 15, 20 years, but we're finally starting to see the league like come into touch with reality and what's really going on and what really wins games, and how a lot of these guys like Lamar you can have a team that's not built very well look like a well-built team when you have a guy like a Lamar. where he can keep you afloat. And then when you take him out of the equation, you see how bad the team really is. When you don't have weapons, you don't have the old line you thought you had. Your defense is not as good as you thought it was. So
Mhm.
I just think people are starting to see what kind of assets some of these guys that have other tools are.
Yeah. Nah, agreed.
I mean, the fact that Daniel Jones was somewhat successful with being where he came into the league, the Bills quarterback, how he started when he came into the league. These guys were not traditional, just sit in the pocket passers. They just were not. And I felt like you're saying, Aaron, now you got it where you're finally allowing the black quarterback to catch up to, okay, this is acceptable now. This type of style of play.
It's required.
Yeah.
This is and this is the trend of where the league is going and the direction the league is going.
Or you get left behind, dog.
That's
and the thing is, you want these guys on your team and not nobody else's team because they're gonna fry you.
and that's the biggest thing with Richardson, where it's less than his ability. I think it's definitely about his talent, like the upside, the ceiling's there, but less about his ability and where he actually deserves to go in the draft. I think part of his surgence is going to be teams scared to miss on him. Like the teams that are going to be picking in the top of this draft, who probably didn't have him as one of the guys they would take, let's say in the top 10, let's say top 5, they're going to go back and look at the tape like, hold on, like
we can't.
If you don't want to be the Bears and you pass on Deshaun Watson and Patrick Mahomes, you know what I mean? Like, we got to look at this again, make sure we're not passing up on an all-time generational talent. And I think that's going to play a bigger part in where he gets drafted versus just looking at his numbers and production. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's more about being scared to miss and letting one of your counterparts end up in the Hall of Fame and you be fired without a job in 2 years.
Yeah, agreed. Before I get into this number 2 pick, the number 2, this was hard. This was hard.
Let's go.
I watched a lot of tape just to make this decision. But when it came down to it, it's 2 factors that pushed me to the over the edge with this. And I made this decision. My number 2 rated quarterback this draft class.
Oh, I thought I was gonna be an outlier. Look at her watching the tape.
Dog, I like Bryce. I like everything about his game. He diagnoses plays very quickly. He is able to get out of trouble. He shows some resilience. But and this is not anything really to like, it's not a knock against him other than it's just who he is. And it's unfortunate that this is actually a knock against him because I mean, it shouldn't be that way, but it's like you playing basketball and you want a center got to be set. Like if we gonna play center on my team, you can't be 6'7", 6'8". Like I don't care how, like it just, you got to be 6'10" to play center. The height and the just how small Bryce Young is, it's a deterrent for me. Like it's like I said, this is my personal assessment of it. The Bama can do everything. He's good.
Very
just
accurate.
like Tua was, just like what's Kyler was. Like, he has both of those attributes, a part of his skill set. But the size matters, dog, at the next level. And when those big hits, I watching the games and I was seeing the Bama was trying to hurt him. Like it looked like they was like, oh dog, we can hurt this Bama. They was trying to hurt him. At the next level, Bama's just trying to feed their family every snap, and it's only going to go up from there. And the fact that he missed time, due to injury, and just, I just think that if you're picking at the top, you need a guy to come in and play right away. Will he be able to do that? Yes, he will. But the durability that the position requires, I'm just not sold that Bryce Young, given his size, would be able to sustain that. You would, as an offense, spend a lot of time really trying to protect him and help him protect himself to a level that you may not be doing for other quarterbacks in this draft class. Particularly, what we see with Anthony Richardson and my number 1, which is given away now, CJ Stroud. But
right.
To me, it just, if I'm a GM and I'm trying to pick a quarterback, like I can't afford to have him miss games on injuries, we seen what happened with Tua. He's smaller in size. We seen what happened with Kyler, smaller in size, and their injury history. And I just think
Not
Bryce
sustainable.
kind of gets put in that space. Now, will he be able to win you some games? Will he be able to get out of trouble? Will he be able to, learn the offense and learn the playbook at a high clip and play, at a high level? Yes. But the durability, it's all worth nothing if he only plays 10 games, or you can't rely on him for the full season. And so that's the only reason. His size is, I mean, like I said, it's someone be like, that's a bias, but it's just the reality of the nature of the football game. So that matters to me. Any thoughts?
I agree with exactly what you were saying. When I was watching the game, I was like, he's a player that you're not gonna get anything beyond his rookie deal and have a big playoff run or going somewhere, fall into the playoffs. I just feel like he's gonna always be someone on the injury depth chart. Like, he's always gonna be in an injury. That's just based on what I was seeing when I was watching this tape and the way he was getting. It's like when if somebody, if a kid would have run into you, ain't know how the kid fall down, you're like, oh, you try to grab him. Like, the impact seems so much more when you're that size in comparison when you're running into guys that are so much bigger than him. And I like everything that he has. One of the things I kind of have a problem with at times, not all the time, but when he throws that deep passes, he put a lot of air on them things. He'd be floating in the air like hot air balloons at times. But I
think that's because of the pressure. Like, when I saw him throw floaters, it was like pressure in his face. There's a lot of balls that he just leave up there. It's like throw up tackle jumps, but I feel like it's induced by the pressure, and part of that is his size. I feel like he would catch the snap and then move back in the pocket like 10 yards to just be able to get a clear pathway to throw the football a lot of times. And I'm just like, at the next level, they just bigger. You know what I'm saying? The Baptist is big in football, and I watched them versus the big teams, like the teams that it mattered. And I was like,
And that's why it really and truly at times when I watch Richardson play, I would actually put Richardson above him if he had more opportunity to showcase more than what he had and to kind of learn the position and kind of mature into it. You know what I'm saying? I just feel like overall, that's how I feel about him. And not that I hate him as a prospect. I just don't think he's going to be a prospect that's going to be around for a long time. And any team that chooses him, they're going to be back looking for a quarterback in the next, 3-year, 4-year draft cycle, looking for their next guy. And it could be even shorter than that because of the things that I saw.
So I disagree a little bit on my evaluation of him being number 2 had, and this is probably going to be the outlier, had nothing to do with his size or injury ability or proneness for injury. It had everything to do with who the number 1 guy was as a quarterback. This had nothing to do with any knocks against Bryce as much as it was, for me, what I think CJ Stroud is going to be at the next level and who he is as a prospect. I think Bryce Young doesn't have any attributes that dominate the position. Doesn't have the huge arm. He doesn't have the huge size. I think he's so steady, and he's so steady that it's almost like a knock. It's almost like, I don't want to say boring, but it's just like he just does. It's almost like he would be the ideal system quarterback with legs. It's almost like an adult version of y'all boy Heineke, kind of, sort of. It's like, and everybody always says about Heineke that he doesn't have an arm. But what I will, the Bama's accurate. I'll give him, and the production's there.
Yeah.
So for me, I think he's going to be a decent quarterback. It's just that I don't think he's a dominant, you got to have this guy to change your organization. I don't think that's what he is right now. I think he's going to be steady. I think he's really smart. I think he's accurate. I think if you put him with somebody who knows anything about offense, they'll be fine. I don't think they'll be redrafting another quarterback, injuries aside. Like I think the Bama can play in the league. I just don't think
I agree with you
was
on
going
that.
to come in and
Yeah, I
change.
think we all I
the
think we all know that he could play in the league. That's not a question.
I just don't think
Just
he's a guy that you're gonna get and it's gonna change the trajectory of your organization, other than how steady you're gonna be at that position if he's healthy. I think just Tua is almost a perfect comp, not necessarily in the style of play, but just in like what you accurate, throw the ball, not gonna have a super live arm. You worried a little bit about injuries, well, a lot about injuries now after all the concussions, but I think the Bama's gonna be all right. I actually like the Bama a lot. It's just that he's not CJ Stroud, and to me, it's not even close.
Nobody is, but yeah, I got you.
CJ Stroud is the number one quarterback, though. It's not even up for discussion. This Bama's a cooker. That Bama's arm power, strength, accuracy. Yeah, CJ Stroud is the number one guy, dog. He got this. He can get out. First of all, I watched the games. He looked like Pat Mahomes a little bit in some of them games. How he got away from trouble, throw the ball downfield like with accuracy. I'm like, oh my goodness, dog. Like it was Anthony Richardson, but like not as much flash to it. Like this dude. I think you look at Jalen Hurts, you look at Patrick Mahomes, you look at how they came in and kind of changed the game. CJ Stroud is in that conversation for me.
To me, like I didn't watch a lot of college football this year, so all of my evaluations 90% of it came from going back and watching the games that Bama's playing after the fact, after it was already done, after the narratives were already set, after, hey, Bryce is the no-brainer number one. And as I'm watching this drink and not going back and forth, like,
head and shoulders.
When I watch CJ Stroud, he's a pro. Like, I just kept seeing pro. Like, I kept seeing like a guy that's already in it. The Bama's footwork is amazing. He might have the best footwork in the pocket, manipulation of the pocket, but just so moving smooth. One step to the right. Like and it's innate. It's not like he's thinking and it's robotic. Just the Bama has everything you would want from a Bama passing the rock. And one of the other things I do is I always go and take the top of the draft class and put it against the other draft classes, like the top quarterbacks. Like, would I take him over this year? And to me, like, dog, he's one of the best throwing the rock and like having a little bit of mobility, but not relying on it. He doesn't want to run. He'll move to like reset and be able to throw the ball downfield, but he doesn't want to run like that. This Bama wants to throw the ball down the field. And to me, just from a passing standpoint, he's one of the best prospects. Like, how high I was on Trevor Lawrence coming out. Like, to me, passing a football, I might have him a tick above Trevor just from a natural passer of the football, pocket present. Like, that good.
Oh, he's good. The numbers show it too. Like, I mean, say what you want about Ohio State and their team and the offense they had, the weapons they had. Dog, he's special. He's special. He's special.
They should take him number one. Like, to me, if the Panthers take him at number one, it's going to make everybody look like geniuses, particularly because they traded up from 9 to 1. Yeah. It's going to make everybody look like geniuses.
To me, that's the only prospect that is worth moving up, giving up draft capital for your future.
Agreed.
He's the only one.
Agreed.
And I can't believe I'm even saying that, because I over the historically, Ohio State quarterbacks have never kind of
they always got a bad rap.
Yeah, they've always cooked collegiately, but when they come into the league, there's always problems.
This guy's different though,
and I don't see that in him at all. And
he looks so poised and confident in his, like, he looks settled. He
light skinned. I can't get over that fact though. He play like no worries in the world.
At Mahomes, lady,
he mixed though. That's different.
Right. Yeah, he looked so settled, calm. He was at the combine throwing with zip. Then he threw the deep pass he threw. Oh my goodness. The first one he left up there. Then the second one he was like, oh, these Bama's running out here. Okay, all right. Effortless. Like effortless. So this is my number one. It looks like we all in a consensus. This is the clear cut number one.
Unquestioned.
I'm glad I did a good job this year and got him right.
Is he going number one?
He better. He better.
Is
What you
he
do?
or should he? Or should he? That's the real
Is he?
question.
That's my question.
He
I think we
should.
all agree he should go number one. We
Yeah.
like this
Is he
not.
going number one? If they got us on, if they go listen to this
Yes.
tape, he going number one. If they
I think
don't
he's-
and they don't watch the tape, then no.
I think he is. I think he is going to go number one. If another quarterback goes above him, that would be one of the biggest gaffes, and in the draft in a while.
Well, we
I
know.
could see Richardson go. Like I wouldn't do it, but I would understand the logic behind somebody going Richardson. But if they take any of the other guys, well, they're not going to take any of the other guys. Other than I think Bryce Young is the only guy in the conversation, just based on we know these guys
Yeah.
don't know what they're doing.
It's
and they
safe.
just go
It's
off the
safe.
narratives.
It's safe. It's safe.
So if he's a bust, it's not going to be necessarily a bunch of headache about this dummy.
Yeah.
Like we all thought he was number one.
Yeah, so you're speaking more to the pattern of the GMs and front offices around the league choosing somebody outside of him.
Because I haven't heard this anywhere else. I thought I was going to be the only one saying C.J. Stroud was the number one.
Man,
quarterback prospect.
hey, Aaron, when you look at the tape, to me, there's no one even close to.
It's
when you
obvious.
watch- it's not even close, man.
But it's always
When I
been
watch-
obvious to us.
Yeah, I guess so. Not
Like
for
we
too long.
always be like, oh no, this guy's not even first round. Like who was the guy they loved coming out of USC? That everybody talked. Oh, he was about to be the guy. The ugly face Bama that was with the Jets.
Oh,
Sam Darnold.
Sam
Sam
Darnold.
Darnold,
Like,
yeah.
and it's just like oh, he's not even on the board, and everybody acting like, oh, that's nuts. Like this dude is the guy. It's just like it's always been just obvious. You just watch it. It's just oh nah, I'm not taking this Bama. But to everybody else, they act like it's brain surgery or neurophysics or something.
Yeah, man.
There you have it. Our top 5 quarterbacks prospects. Follow us at OSS 980 at Other Side of Sports. Subscribe to the channel. We got more prospect and what do you call it? Analytics coming. Wide receivers, tight ends, DNs, all of that. We're gonna give you, but the quarterback, you already know that's the most important. That's what y'all come back 10 years from now and be like, y'all said. Thank you. Well, they don't really come back because we're always right. And
Exactly.
But yeah, follow us, share the show, share the content. We out.